So, welcome in. um, Gonna get started today in a kneeling position. So find your knees, grab your joints, grab your water. Today I'm smoking on a dream sequence, one of my favorites from one of our local joints called 7 Point Farms. I went in yesterday in my costume because today's Halloween. So yesterday I went in my costume. We were headed over to a friend's house. And they actually gave me a free joint. So I was like, heck yeah, it pays to be an adult showing up in costume. So with my dream sequence today, just like usual, I'm going to give the joint a little massage. So if you're a joint smoker like me, I noticed that a lot of our joints tend to be really tightly packed and they don't burn too well. So if you massage on your joint a little bit before smoking it, sometimes that can help get that airflow going within the paper. And then you also get to play with your vape, right? Like which we've talked about is a great thing when we get to, fondle our flower, when we get to love on our flower a little bit before actually smoking it, right? And as usual, I'm going to take my dry hit. Just tasting the beautiful terpenes. Got a lot of piney and lemony kind of flavor going on here today. So before we partake, I'd just like to say a little prayer, a little graciousness, gratitude, thankfulness to our ganja god, our mama ganja, right? This source plant has been with us for so long, even in fact that in the Hindu and Buddhist religions, they say that Buddha used to eat hemp seeds. And that source of, fiber, just hemp seeds alone, there's a great source of fiber. It's used very highly in the Indian religions. And so cannabis has been around longer than we even know about, longer than is even documented in written history. It goes back as far as Shiva. And there's a conversation about something called soma, which we believe is translated into our modern day cannabis. That soma was offered as a way of blessing and a way of procuring connection to the brain, connection to our life. So with that prayer, with that beautiful just blessing, with that honoring of our sacred goddess, our sacred gods, I'll just light my cannabis. Tastes just as good lit. Just remembering to take as long as you need. If you feel like you want to imbibe before joining us on the mat, you can always take the opportunity to do that. Prayer can always happen midway through a session, right? We don't always have to have our prayer right at the beginning of our session. It's just like sometimes I'll forget to pray on my food. It's okay to stop mid-food and start praying, right? Giving gratitude and graciousness for these gifts that we've been given in this life. So if you didn't notice, I'm getting a little playful today. I've got my zombie pants on. It is Halloween, so my favorite holiday aside from my birthday is Halloween. So I'd like to take advantage of celebrating this fun day. Hopefully you have some great plans with your kiddos if you have them today. Hopefully you guys have a great time with trick-or-treating and that kind of thing. Let me just double check, make sure no one else is coming in. Beautiful. Okay. So just a few more hits here. Since it's my session today, I'm just going to take my time taking in my canvas, taking my time to honor and adore this beautiful sacred plant that I have such a great opportunity to work with. And so with that, I'll just leave that in the ashtray, take me a sip of water. And we'll get started seated today. So if you've been on those knees, go ahead and bring yourself onto your bum. Sit back towards the back of your mat and cross your legs out in front. Once your legs are crossed, uncross those legs and recross them in front. As you sit up nice and tall, you'll feel the grounding of your sit bones into the mat. And if it feels like your flesh is in the way, just take and gather your butt cheeks out of the way and feel the sit bones press into the mat. Sitting up nice and tall, think about drawing your chest forward. Think about pulling that sternum to meet the belly and being conscious of that stacking, head over heart, heart over pelvis. Turn the palms up in your lap and just close your eyes for a moment. Breathing deep, inhaling and exhaling that breath through the mouth. Just starting to notice this breath, recognize this breath, recognizing that it's your breath. So as you inhale and exhale, or as I cue you to inhale or exhale, just be conscious of how the breath is moving. Maybe it's slower than I'm cueing, maybe it's faster than the cues I'm giving you, but I want you to just be conscious and aware. Necessarily, there's no need to follow my initial cues as long as you're moving with the cues, right? Moving with your breath. So at times you may find that you're a little faster or a little slower than I am through a movement. As long as you're connecting it with breath, you're doing it right. Remember, at any time you need to come down to the knee or come down to a seat or onto your back, if it seems to be a little too much, just go ahead and come on down. If at any time you want to beef things up a little bit, you can feel free to do that. As we practice more and more together, you'll start to find the ways that really help you increase the strength and stamina in your practice as we move through, even by doing some of the same movements, just adding on little micro additions. Take a nice big inhale in through the nose, closing the mouth. And soften your gaze, soften your smile, release that breath, soften the belly. Taking another few moments here to set an intention for your day. How do you want your day to play out? Visualize it here, manifest it here, make it happen right here. Soften your face. Soften your jaw. Gently draw the palms together at your heart and drop your chin into the chest. We're still keeping that spine nice and long, so don't round out here. Sit up tall with that spine and just bring that chin to the chest. Gently bow forward, hinging at the hips, just bowing to our practice, bowing for the opportunity to work together. Nice job. Slowly, we're going to start to shift it forward. So we bring the hands out to the outside edges of our legs. Use those hands to push ourselves forward and come on to the knees. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see me here, but we want to get your hands underneath our shoulders. We want our knees underneath our hip points. And if you're unsure of your hips distance, you can always take those fists side by side and just place them in between the knees. This is measuring your very own hips distance, okay? Then get that spine nice and long, palms underneath the shoulders. We want to keep the hips over the knees anytime that we're stacking on the knees. And then we squeeze into that spider grip. Protect your hands, protect your wrists. Push down through the toes behind you, look between your thighs, see if you can get your shins and toes to disappear behind those thighs. On the inhale, we drop the belly, eye gaze up. And exhale to push away, round and curl. Inhale, drop the belly, eye gaze up. And exhale, pushing away. Remember that your breath might be quicker or slower than mine is. Use your breath to guide you through this movement. Inhaling to drop the belly. Exhaling to round it out. Inhaling to drop. Exhaling to push away. Nice job. Walk your hands out, one hand length. Squeeze into that spider grip and curl onto your toes. Start to lift the knees and hover as you squeeze it in. Hold. Start to press your booty up to the sky as you melt your belly to the thighs. Squish your dog, then lift your hips. Find your downward facing dog. Shaking the head no, and nodding it yes. Coming high on your toes, let's tiptoe walk to the top of the mat. One foot after another, walking until you get in between those hands. Bring your big toes to touch and then press through the soles of the feet to reach your hips up to the sky. Let the crown of the head hang heavy and bend through the knees as much as you need to keep your hands on the mat. Shake your head no. And nod it yes. Press through the feet and come up halfway. Create a figure 7 with your body. Exhale right here, then push into the feet to rise the rest of the way. Stacking one vertebrae at a time, shoulders back, head lifts. Reach to the sky and drop those hands down through your heart center. I'm going to turn to face you here, but we're at the top of the mat, heels and toes touching, hands at the heart center. Release the hands down to come up, reach them up to the sky. Now I want you to grab a hold of your right wrist with your left hand. So I'll turn with my back towards you so you can really see here. We're reaching up with that right hand and pressing the palm to the sky. Then the left hand comes to grab that right wrist. And then we start to pull those pinkies back behind us to really open up the chest. Good. Now there's a micro bend in your knees, a little bit of buoyancy here, so you can shift the hips to the right and peel that right arm over. As soon as you start to peel that right arm, you're going to start to feel the stretch through this right side body. So maybe here you start to notice how when you lift up and over, it almost feels like you're between two panes of glass. We want to keep that body in alignment, even though we're twisting to the side. So no hips out, no hips back, okay? Squeeze it in, pull in that pelvic floor. Maybe your eye gaze comes up to the corner of the room where the ceiling meets the wall. Inhale, press away, and come on out. Exhale, let it go with a little back bend. Make sure to tuck your tailbone, protect your spine. Inhale, back up, hands drop through heart center. Release your chin to your chest. Just taking a moment to pray here as we start to move through the other side. Lift your toes, replace them down one at a time, starting with the pinky toe, work to the big toe. Feel all four corners of your foot on the mat. Release the hands down to come up, eye gaze reaches with it. This time the left palm turns to the sky, your right hand grabs a hold of that left wrist. We're really zipped up through the legs here, so it's extra important to have that micro bend. Pull in your pelvic floor and push your chest forward as you pull your pinkies back. Now we're not back bending here, but we're pulling that sternum in and reaching the shoulders back. Good. Inhale, reach. Exhale, shift it over to the right this time. Peeling the left hip over to the left and peeling the left arm over the head. So this left bicep is coming over that left ear. Maybe your eye gaze comes up to the corner of the room. Noticing the sensation like your body is between two panes of glass. Hold it there. Now on this right side, I want you to imagine there's a beach ball here. So don't sink into your side, lift up and over it. This will allow that pull, that stretch down the left side of the body. And inhale, come back up. Exhale, release into a little back bend. Inhale, back up. Exhale, hands down through heart center. Drop your chin to your chest. Hinge it forward at the hips. Releasing down into our Uttanasana, forward fold. Allow the crown of the head to hang heavy as you shake it no. And nod it yes. Releasing down a little further on that exhale. Good. Inhale, root to rise halfway. Exhale here. Inhale, come all the way up, arms sweep up as you reach to the sky, tuck your tailbone, exhale, let something go with that back bend. Inhale, back up, Good, hands down through heart center. Now I want you to heel toe walk your feet out to the edges of the mat. Let your toes spill off the edges, okay? And then we're gonna track our knees past our toes as we sink it down. Inhale, reach the arms up to the sky. Exhale, bend and sink it down. Inhale, reach. Exhale, bend and sink it down. One more time. Inhale, reach. Exhale, bend and sink it down. Let's hold right here. Pull in your pelvic floor. Take that sternum to belly connection. Pull the arms back behind you just a little bit more. Then hinge it forward. Drop those hands down to the knees. Straighten the legs. Fingers to the floor. Toes turn out. Just gentle rock from side to side. Shake your tail. Soften your jaw. Soften your face. Good. Now, heel toe walk your feet completely off of your mat. Keep walking them until they're a little bit bigger than they were just a moment ago. So about maybe a foot's distance wider. Turn your toes out, heels in. Bend through the knees, hands to hips. Inhale, peel your spine. On up. Good. Sink it down a little bit more. So here we're trying to find our goddess position. So you might need to walk your feet out just a little farther. We do want those toes turned out and the heels in. So here, there's going to be a tendency to kind of kick the hips back, okay? I don't want you to do that. What I want you to do is really think about tucking that pelvic floor underneath you, pulling that sternum to belly connection, pulling the shoulders back and down. Good. On your inhale, reach up to the sky, straighten the legs. Exhale, bend and cactus the arms. Inhale, reach up to the sky, and exhale, sink it down. Still holding that pelvic floor. Inhale, reach. Exhale, sink. Inhale, reach. Pressing through those toes. Exhale, sink. Inhale, reach. Last time, exhale, sink and hold. Pulling your shoulders back and down, pulling that pelvic floor in, sink it down a little farther. Good, hinge it forward, find the floor. Heel toe walk your feet back in onto the mat. Heels and toes come to touch. Inhale up, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Root to rise and come all the way up, slow, just so you don't get that head rush. Drop the shoulders back and down, head lifts, reach for the sky, tuck your tailbone. Exhale, let something go. Inhale up. Nice job. Hands down through heart center. Hinge it forward, finding that forward fold. Walk your hands to the top of the mat. Walk your feet to the back. Start to find a plank, shifting it forward. Make sure your hands are spread wide. You're squeezing into that spider grip. Kick your heels back behind you and pull your collarbone between your shoulder blades to really activate those biceps. Pulling that sternum to belly. Hopefully you're already starting to shake. Drop it down, knees. Shift it forward. Chest and chin. Really tuck the bottom of the elbows. Release down to the belly. Kick those legs back. Tops of toes into the mat. Inhale. Press up for a little baby cobra. Exhale. Release it down. Nice job. Walk your feet together. Bring your right ear into the mat. Now, let's make sure that those legs and hips are really zipped up here. Then walk your arms out like Texas T, reaching those fingertips away from you. Press down through the palms. Really feel the activation through your arms here. We're moving into a little shoulder stretch. Our peak pose is going to be our dancer pose today. So we want to stretch out those shoulders. So with the legs really zipped up here, see if you can bring the big toes to touch. Really zipping up the inside of those legs. Start to walk your left hand towards your face. We're keeping this right arm glued to the mat, or glued to the floor, I should say. And you're working to keep your right ear on the mat. You can stay right here using the left hand out in front of the face to push your shoulder open. Or if you want a little bit more, you can start to roll onto your right side. You may have to lift your head and readjust to keep that right ear on the mat. The point of this stretch here is to start to feel the shoulder bind, starting to cut off circulation to that right shoulder. Flex your feet down below. Get yourself in a nice long line here, hips to heels. You can stay right here. This might feel super amazing. This might be exactly what you needed. Or if you're like, okay, Rachel, I'm not feeling anything, I need a little bit more, then I want you to bend your top knee. So let's start with the lowest expression, okay? The first expression is just to kick that left foot back behind you. Allow the inside arch of the foot to touch the mat or the outside edge of the mat. This could be it right here for you. This might feel amazing on that shoulder. If you're still wanting more, draw the sole of that left foot behind your right thigh. Let the knee come to the sky. Use your left hand for support there out in front of your face. You're working to keep that right ear, right temple onto the mat. If you're here and you're lifting off, you need to drop that foot off the mat and stack the legs again, okay? It's all right if you're not quite into that fullest expression, okay? There's always somewhere to go in yoga. You will never find the end point, okay? Be with where you are right now. A few more breaths here. If that leg is bent or extended, slowly start to bring it back in using your breath. Good. Now point through your toes, and I want you to just use this left hand out in front to rock gently side to side on that right hip. Just massaging the outer edge of your glutes, your hip, your thigh. And then slowly rolling it onto the belly and move slower than you expected you could. What we're doing is like, it's like releasing that hose. You know, when we have a hose turned on and we pinch it off, when we release it, we can release it quickly and it's going to go squirting everywhere. If we release it slowly, we can direct that stream. So send that stream back into the arm. When you get back to the belly, left arm comes out, left ear into your mouth. Then zip up through those legs. You might need to lift off the legs and walk them down a little farther to feel that pelvis into the mat. Walk your fingertips away from you as far as you can. Walk them, walk them, walk them. And then walk your right hand in front of your face, bending at the elbow. This might be it right here. You can stay right here just using this hand to push your shoulder open. Or when you're ready, you can roll it onto the left side. Remember, you can make any adjustments you need with that head. Just make sure that that left ear is glued to the mat. So with that right hand out in front of the face, you might just use this to press away, feeling that bind in that left shoulder. Start to flex your feet here for more stability. And we'll start by reaching that right foot back behind us. See how far you can go to start to feel the openness of the twist here. The twist should be increasing the stretch on the front side of that left shoulder, maybe getting a little hip twist into this also. If you want to take it a little further, bending that knee, reaching it to the sky and drawing the sole of the right foot behind the left thigh. With the right hand out in front of the face, we just use that as pressure, additional movement, right? To push ourselves a little farther open. Keeping that left ear, left temple on the mat. Keeping your left foot flexed and making sure that that entire left arm is pressing into the mat over there. We're pinching it out at the shoulder. We're in a bind. The binds are meant to build energy and then release toxins. So we're going to release anything that might have been building up in that shoulder or alongside the fingertips or hand. Good. Slowly starting to release that top leg with these last few breaths, bringing it back into our stack. Keeping the right hand out in front of the face and pointing through the toes so you can gently rock it side to side on that left hip. Good.
then when you've had enough of that, keep those toes pointed. And we're going to use this right hand for support. It's going to be your stability. It's the whole, it's where all the weight is going to be, okay? So as you press through that right hand, slowly start to release back onto your belly, remembering to move as slow as you possibly can. Release onto the belly, release the arms out, and this time bring your forehead into the mat. It might mean the arms lift off the mat a little bit, that's okay. We're gonna come high onto the fingertips and lift our arms off, feeling the release of blood flow go back into the fingertips. And then walk those hands back, bring the thumbs underneath the nipple area, press onto the tops of the toes, press yourself up and back through the knees, sink your hips to your heels, finding your child's pose, forehead into the mat. And this time, I want you to take the hands and walk them back behind you, palms up to the sky. This is going to allow those shoulders to drape over the knees, forehead into the mat, soften your jaw. Maybe you rock that forehead side to side if that feels good. Finding a little pressure into that forehead. Stopping in the center, walking the hands back even farther. Inhale, big and deep. Really feel your knees push against your belly, or I should say your chest. Then as you exhale, start to paint the mat with the backs of the hands. Bring the hands to frame the face. Then gently press yourself up, coming into a seat. Sit up nice and tall. Bring the hands into the lap and let the thumbs touch. So we're stacking the hands, left hand down, right hand drops on top, and then those thumbs come to touch. Think here about sitting up nice and tall. Notice if your chest feels more open, if your arms feel more stretched. Smile, open the eyes, start to shift it forward. Start to find that tabletop, then curl onto the toes, lift and shift it back. Find your downward facing dog. Shake your head no, and nod it yes. Inhale, lift your right leg high to the sky. And as you exhale, bring it into the chest, squeeze it in, and then drop it in between those hands. If you struggle with getting that foot in between the hands, you can always bring it to the center and then walk it up. Or you can drop down to that opposite knee, swish it around up and through. Bring the foot in between the hands and then curl back on your toes. We all meet in that same lunge. Nice job. Now drop down to your left knee. Right knee over right ankle. Hands to hips, heel your body up. So we're coming up into a low lunge here. We're imagining there's a block between the thighs and we're squeezing it. We're pressing into the big toe mound on that right toe. We're pressing into the toes on that back foot. Inhale those arms up to the sky. And exhale, drop them down, frame the foot, curl onto the toes. Take your back foot and step it forward half or a foot length. Then rotate those left toes out to the corner of the mat and drop your left heel down. So your left heel is going to be facing the left front corner of the mat, okay? And your heels, the right heel and left heel, are in alignment with each other here. Now bring your hands to your hips, press into the big toe mound on that right foot, tear the mat apart with the feet, and inhale to come up. Sink it down into that front knee just a little bit more. Pressing that right knee over that right ankle. And then square your hips here. So if you're finding that you're twisted off to the side, just take that foot, maybe step it in a little bit more. Take that rotation a little deeper, turning those toes a little bit more in. So if you're way out here, those hips aren't going to be able to let you do it. So you got to twist that foot in so it's facing a little farther forward. Then square those hips to the front, sink it down. Windmill those arms up, reach to the sky. Good. This is our warrior one. As we windmill open, we find warrior two. So when we windmill open, That right foot is out in front. That back foot turns to become parallel with the back edge of the mat. Then we sink it down into that right knee. We pull in that pelvic floor. And even here, sternum to belly connection will activate that length through the spine. Then swing those arms out beside you. Don't lift them up over your ears. Keep them in line with the shoulders. Palms up to the sky to start. Then turn those palms down. Good. Warrior two. We reach the right arm up to the sky. Left arm falls to tickle that left thigh. Maybe you wrap the left arm around you to hook the fingertips on that belly. Reaching the right arm up, look up at it. Sink it down a little farther. Tear them out apart with your feet. Reversing in this warrior, this is our Viparita Virabhadrasana. Inhale big and deep. Exhale to unwind. Sink it down. Drop your right forearm onto the right thigh. Inhale, left arm up to the sky. Good. Then start to reach the left arm over your left ear, pulling those shoulders open to stack. Good. Windmill it down. Left hand comes into the mat. And that right arm reaches up to the sky, squeezing that pelvic floor, twisting. Drop the right hand down, frame the foot, kick the right foot back. Shifting it forward, dropping down, knees. Squeeze the body with the elbows, chest and chin tap. Shift it forward onto your belly. Lift up, cobra. Good. Release it down, thumbs to that nipple area. Squeeze those side bodies. Press up through the knees. Shift it back. Child's pose. Allowing the arms to reach out here. Take a moment to grab a sip of water if you need. Grab another hit if you'd like. Always taking the time and opportunity to liberate ourselves, if you'd like. If you're not grabbing water or a hit, you can go ahead and relax back into your child's pose. Sometimes I think I like it more from the incense than anything. So on the knees, extended, arms long. 2 more breaths here. On your inhale, pulling on the palms, shifting it forward. Getting your hands to the top of the mat if they're not quite there. Curling onto the toes, lifting those hips, finding your downward facing dog. Shake your head now. Letting go of something here. And nodding it yes. Left leg is going up on the inhale. On your exhale, bring it in tight to the chest. This is how we get that foot up there, okay? So peel the knee in toward the nose. Bring your heel close to your booty. Then come high on your back toes. It starts to shift the weight already forward. Then shift yourself forward. So your hands, your shoulders almost come past your fingertips. Then kick that foot up and in. If you'll notice, every time I come into this, what I end up having to do, so we lift the leg up, it comes through, and I kick it in, but then my leg is still out to the side of my body, right? So I got to straighten my leg and get my belly over that side, okay? So sometimes there's adjustments we need to make to get ourselves into the right position, right? It's okay. Good. Now, take that right knee and drop it down to the mat. You can stay curled onto the toes or press down through the top of that foot. Squeeze an imaginary block and come on up. Inhale, arms up to the sky, low lunge. We're pressing down through those toenails behind us. We're pressing into the big toe mound on the left foot, and we're squeezing in that pelvic floor. And exhale releases us down. Frame the foot, curl onto the toes, lift. Good. Now take your right foot and step it up about a foot length. Bring your heels in alignment and turn your right toes to the right corner of your room. Hands to hips. Press away and inhale to rise. Sink it down. Good. Windmill those arms up and pull the shoulders out of the ears. Squeeze that imaginary block between the thighs. Your hips are squared here. So remember, making any adjustments with that back foot, either turning it in or stepping it forward a little bit more. Just making sure the left knee stays over left ankle, arms to the sky. With our warrior one, we drop that right arm down. We windmill to open up for our warrior two, which means we're going to reach those arms out, palms to the sky. Okay. Our left toes stay facing forward. Our right foot maybe walks back a little bit, and the right edge of the foot becomes parallel with that short edge of your mat. Sink it down so the left knees over the left ankle, shoulders back and down, turn the palms, and then we look past the left fingertips. Warrior two, Virabhadrasana two. Still tearing the mat apart with the feet, drop your right hand down, left arm swims up to the sky. We're not using this right hand to press into the leg at all, okay? Maybe you wrap it behind you and see if you can hook those fingertips around your hip. Looking up at the left thumb, sink it down a little farther. The Prita Virabhadrasana, reverse warrior. Unwind, come back into your warrior two, keeping those legs where they are, pulling in that pelvic floor. Drop the left arm down, right arm reaches up. That left arm is on the thigh, excuse me. You're trying to stack the shoulders here, opening up the chest. Right fingertips are really reaching up. Good, windmill it down. Right hand into the mat, we come high on those back toes. Left arm reaches to the sky, open twist. Nice job. Hand comes down to frame the foot. Kick your left foot back. Moving through our vinyasa. Shifting it forward. Dropping it down to the knees. Hugging the body with the elbows until the chest and chin tap. Belly comes to the mat. Tops of toes. Press up. Release it down. Good job. Curl onto your toes. Lift. Press away. Shift it back. Downward dog. Nice work. Nice job. Inhale, lift that right leg up. Exhale, shift it forward, up and through, drop it in between your hands. Good. Shift it and lift it. Left leg lifts, standing splits. Let the crown of the head hang heavy. Listen carefully. Step your left foot back to the mat. Frame the foot. Kick your right foot back to the mat. Shift your hips back. Downward dog. Shake the head now. Let go of something here. Nice. On the inhale, left leg lifts. Sweep it forward, up and through. Drop it in between those hands. Good. Shift it forward. Give it a little kick, a little lift. Find that standing split. And bend the knee. Step it back. Find that lunge. Nice. Kick those left foot back. Shift your hips to the side. Now start to walk your hands back to meet your feet. So we're going to find ourselves on the back of our mat in our Uttanasana forward fold. Inhale, half lift, figure seven. Exhale, release. Inhale, room to rise. Come all the way up, stack one vertebrae at a time. Watch out for those head rushes. Reach the fingertips down, press through the feet, activate those legs. Pull in your pelvic floor, sternum to belly, chin long, shoulders back. Good. So I want you to find a drishti point. Actually, let's step it forward first. So we're going to take the right foot to start, and we're going to step into the center of the mat. Okay? You want to find all four corners of your foot onto that mat, and then bend through the knees so you can shift it forward. This left toe should be able to just tap back here. Okay? Now look out in front of you, probably about a foot out in front of your mat's end. You'll find a spot that you can look at, something that's not going to move. Okay, even here, we're thinking sternum to belly connection to find our balance. Keep tapping your toe back here to find that strength on that right leg. Good. Reach the arms up to the sky, and you're going to take your left hand and draw a line down the inside of your arm. You're drawing open your bow. Reach your left arm back behind you. Now kick and see if you can grab the inside of your left foot. If you need to, you can find a wall here, okay? So you have the wall with your hands, you grab that foot, and then we start to kick into that foot, okay? So when we hinge forward in our kick, it's not that we are hinging forward, it's that we're kicking so hard into that hand that it starts to push our body weight forward. Eventually, those toes will grow out the top of your head. Let's see if I can do it forward so you can see maybe that out the top of the head grow. Keep giving it a go. Every time you fall out, just try and get back in the way we started, okay? Once you find that kick, you start to kick, 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 and kick. Nice job. Slowly release out. Good. Wiggle out your tail, finding that standing stillness. Release the fingertips down beside you. Take a step back to the back of the mat. Okay? Heels and toes back to touching, fingertips reaching down, chest forward, chin forward, pull in that pelvic floor. Just noticing the length and strength on that right leg. Open your eyes, step your left foot, center of the mat, start to shift it forward, find your back toes. So maybe it takes a moment for you to find your balance here. That's okay. Think about all four corners of your foot meshing onto the mat. Now look out in front of your mat, find that sweet spot, okay? Inhale, arms up, shoulders back. Take your right hand this time. Trace a line on the inside of the left arm across your chest. We're drawing our bow. Reach your right arm behind you and then kick into that hand. Squeeze those legs together right away. That's going to help you find the balance. Then you drop the left shoulder or left arm in line with the left shoulder and then start to kick. The slower you can start to move through some of these movements, the more intense they'll become. It's about gaining control, gaining courage. So again, you can take that wall. I would wait until you start to hinge forward first. So grab that foot, then see if you can find the balance, then reach it out and just have it there for support, okay? One more go, wherever you are. Reaching it out, kicking in, dancer pose. Standing bow pulling pose. Dandayamana, Dhanurasana. Releasing it back the way we went in. Good. This time I want you to step those feet wide. We're moving back into that goddess position. So walk them out. Maybe you turn to the side of your mat so you're lengthwise on that mat. Turn the toes into the corners of the room. Heels in. Okay? The knees should start to track over the toes as you sink it down. You might need to make some additional modifications as you start to sink into it. But the important part here is that we're holding in that pelvic floor. We're pulling that sternum to meet the belly, and we're keeping our spine nice and long, hands to heart. Inhale, straighten and reach. Exhale, pull that energy down, bring it in. Inhale, lengthen, straighten. Exhale, peel it down. One more time. Inhale, reach, lengthen, and exhale, sink it down, goddess pose. Hold it, reach those arms out beside you, press away, hold it, turn the palms up, keep holding, draw those palms in together, and hinge it forward. Release that chest down to the mat, turn your toes forward, and gently shake your hips from side to side, just bending one knee at a time. Nice job. Let the head dangle. Shake it. No. And not it yet. Heel toe walk your feet back in. Find center. Hands walk away from the feet, finding the opposite ends of the mat. Releasing it down. Then cross your ankles behind you. And roll it back to your booty. We find ourselves at the back of the mat, seated, cross-legged, kind of where we started. Sitting up nice and tall here, taking a couple moments to move the flesh out of the way, to find your clothes again. Mine are all over the place today. And just drop those shoulders back, close your eyes, turn the palms up in your lap, and take a moment to feel the strength you just created as we moved in and out of that balancing pose.
Hopefully you have the opportunity to fall out a couple of times. Learning how to fall is one of the most important parts of our practice. Soften your face, soften your jaw. Draw your palms into your heart center and drop your chin to your chest. Just bowing to our standing practice. Then the eye gaze comes forward. Let's bring the soles of the feet to touch, okay? So you can create a diamond shape with your legs. You can create a triangle shape by bringing those in a little closer. I think I'm going to stick with a diamond today. So what we're working on is the inside strengthening of our thighs here. And what's going to happen is we're not just sitting up tall today, we're going to hinge it forward. So maybe you do take those feet out a little bit farther, more into that diamond shape today. It's just going to depend on how much of a stretch you want through the inner thighs and hips. So as we're just sitting here talking, I really want you to feel comfortable. So if you're feeling any strain already or stress or stretch even in those inner thighs, go ahead and walk those feet into that triangle. Okay, even here, we're thinking about sternum to belly connection. We're thinking about sitting up nice and tall in our pelvic floor. Good. Bring your hands to your heart center. This is going to be our baseline right here. The thumbs are going to press into the sternum so we can push the elbows away, keeping the shoulders nice and long. Okay, now press into your feet and hinge at the hips. Don't round at the belly, hinge at the hips. So think about drawing the pinky edges of your fingertips toward your heels. Okay, maybe you come right here, maybe you can drop it down a little farther, but what we're trying to do is increase that stretch on those inner thighs. So once you start to feel that, you can set in right there. You don't have to take it much farther than that. It's that inner thigh stretch we're looking for. Good. Keep pressing the feet together. So keep those legs active. You'll keep your spine long. Keep pulling those elbows away from you, pressing those thumbs together. Keep pulling your sternum down to meet your belly, protecting your spine by corseting that core, right, is our corset. Good. Press through the feet, press through the bum. Come on up. Nice job. Release the fingertips by your thighs and inhale them both together. Go ahead and wrap your arms around your legs and round and curl. Drop the forehead to meet the knees. Chin comes to the chest. Nice job. Now I want you to walk your feet out 1 or 2 foot lengths and then extend your legs long. So you can start with a little skinny V here. If you're really flexible in your hips and thighs, you can always walk your feet out a little bit more. I'm going to come in about midway between those 2 points today, but I want you to find what feels good in a place where you're not now scrunched over, right? We want to still be able to sit up tall here. We want to feel our pelvis pressing toward the floor. We want to feel that corseting activation happening right here. Now bring your, your left foot into the right thigh. So we're just bending that knee. Now we have the right leg lengthened out into the corner of the room. Flex your right foot so it's pressing that heel into the mat. And then just rotate your torso so you face that leg, okay? Now, with the hands beside the leg, just gently start to walk yourself forward. Again, we're keeping the spine nice and long here, so don't round out to get there. Keep your head pulling back. Keep thinking about chin to shin and nose to toes. So maybe this is it for you. This is it for me today. I can't pull myself any farther forward than this. I'm already feeling this in my belly. I'm feeling it in my left oblique, and I'm feeling it underneath my right thigh. So activate here by pressing through that right heel. Think chin to shin, nose to toes. Maybe you fold just a little bit deeper here to increase the stretch through that right thigh. And come on, back up, slowly moving. Nice job. Let's switch. Keep the left foot out. Bring the right foot in, heel toward that thigh. Flex your foot. Rotate that torso. And then make sure you're really pressing into those sit bones. I want you sitting up nice and tall here as you rotate, okay? The activation of pressing that heel into the floor is really going to be what helps you stay there, right? If you loosen that leg, your torso goes whoop,
right back to the center, right? So flex that foot and really rotate yourself toward that leg. You can press into the thigh with that right heel, and then bring the hands to the belly here or the hips. I want you to feel that extension. Then hands to the floor, spine nice and long. Think chin to shin, nose to toes. Start walking it out, keeping that spine length. Use the fingertips, claw the mat here. Soften your face, don't clench. We're here for 5. Breathing. 4, 3, maybe you reach a little farther, 2, and press away on the 1. Slowly come back up, twist yourself back to center. Good. So I want you to scoot it forward, kick your legs out. Let's find our Shavasana. Releasing onto the back, shoulders back and down, eye gaze up, chin tucked to the chest. Walk your feet down to the end of the mat to release that spine. Then reach your arms out beside you, airplane wings, palms down, making sure those armpits have some air. Then bring the right knee up and take the right foot and drop it on the top of the left thigh. Sole of the foot to the top of the left thigh. Now take your left hand across the body, grabbing for the outside edge of your right knee. Keep this right hand glued to the mat as you roll over to the left side, heeling that right bent knee over the body, crossing the body to the left side of the mat. Inhale, come back up, release that leg, release that arm. Opposite side, left foot comes to the top of the right thigh. Right arm, reach across the body for the outside edge of the left thigh, and we slowly roll it over to the side. Just feeling the stretch through the top of that thigh, keeping that left hand glued. Inhale, back up. Pull both knees into the chest, flex your feet, cross the ankles, and give me a couple of ankle rotations, getting out that last little bit of snap, crackle, and pop in those ankles. Then uncross and recross, opposite foot on top, just wiggling out through those ankles, going one direction and then the other. Just soften through your face, soften through your jaw, start to release and relax into your final corpse pose. Just allowing your body to rest and reset here. After all of that energizing, this is where the action happens. This is where the manifestation occurs. This is where the magic starts. So as you lay here, just settling in, releasing into the stillness, I encourage you to resist that urge to fidget, resist that urge to move. I promise you there's no need to scratch that itch. There's no need to wipe the sweat or wiggle your toe. Allow whatever is coming up to come up. Don't let movement be a distraction of what's happening internally. Shavasana gives us that opportunity to really just let go. We get to notice how the mat has our back. It's rising up to meet us, to support us, to hold us. Each time throughout the day that you start to feel nervous, upset, or frustrated, come back to this moment right here. This moment on your mat, in your stillness. in your quiet space, safe and warm and loved. Just know that you can return to this feeling anytime you feel disturbed. Bring your right hand to your heart and your left hand to your belly. Maybe noticing your heartbeat and or your breath. Allowing these last few moments of stillness to just eradicate you. Take you out of whatever mood you were in before and bring you into complete joy. Coming out of this practice as a new person. You literally are not the same person you were when you stepped on your mat at the beginning of this class. Be honored that you get the opportunity to change yourself. Be grateful for the opportunity that you get to release things that are not serving. Give thanks for these moments where you get to be yourself. So if you'd like, you can remain here, just hanging out on your mat, coming in from that Shavasana. Moving as quickly or as slowly as you'd like. Just making sure that the head is last to rise as you come up. Avoiding any head brushes in case you'd like them. So with that, I'll just leave you in peace. To relax here in this space. Thank you so much. Namaste.